buzz.
The Buzzard.
The home of the Buzzard.
Buzzard. This is 100.7 WMMS.
Cleveland.
Now it is time to give stuff away. Alan Cox is giving stuff away.
All right, you want to go see the Black Dahlia murder from Detroit, Michigan? MMS in 2 hours to midnight. Our metal show presents the Beg to Serve tour. This is just a couple of weeks away. It's Thursday night, October 3rd at the world-famous Agora, bringing a bunch of heavy bands with them. You'll get my last pair of tickets right here, so good luck. AgoraCleveland.com for any and all details on all those shows they've got coming through. Caller 10, these are yours. Good luck. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007.
The Alan Cox Show.
You guys are a bunch of morons, and I love it.
On 100.7 WMMS.
Hey, comedian Deric Cahill is here. We haven't met. We've talked on Instagram a few times, and I don't know that I've ever had a comedian slash chocolatier on the guy, dude. Comedian slash chocolatier. If you put them in that order, you might not. You might be chocolatier slash comedian.
The two of them.
So your story is interesting to me. You got about 1 million people watching you over there on TikTok.
Yeah.
And how did you're from Boston? Is that where you're from?
Originally, yeah.
Okay, and where do you live now?
Dallas.
You live in Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how do you find that? Was that a family thing? Was that a work thing?
No, I've lived a bunch of different lives. In one of my lives, I was a VP of sales in corporate America.
Right.
And they moved me out to Dallas, and that's where I settled the
Oh,
family.
you were transferred to Dallas.
Oh, yeah, I moved to Dallas for work.
VP of sales of what?
I worked for a tech company that sold information, like insights and information.
Yeah.
I really sold
we've
it
worked
using
together
it.
then.
Yeah, exactly.
Deric is doing a show tomorrow at the Funny Bone here in Cleveland. It's tomorrow afternoon. This is a
it's an early
matinee
brunch.
show. Yeah, this is a 3:30 show, and I don't know that there are many tickets still remaining because a lot of people, I think, are very excited to see you do this. Explain to people, kind of give me the trajectory here of going from that. And I don't know where the chocolate thing comes in, but the comedian thing, explain it to me.
Yeah.
Because the material itself is very funny. That's kind of what caught my eye. I think you randomly popped up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
And then we
that,
kind of
man.
started chatting. But, I mean, it's fun. It's very funny to me.
Yeah, so I started doing comedy like 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Open mics I lived in Southwest Florida for a while, so I was doing open mics down there, just the grind of comedy down there.
Yeah.
And I met my wife, we had a baby, and I was like, man, I got to go get a big boy job now.
She's a Floridian.
She's a
You met her in
yeah,
Florida.
I met her
Yeah.
in Florida. We've
Yep.
been together now 11 years. And, I just gave up. Back then, I didn't think I could do multiple things. I didn't think I could still have a hobby I pursued while making money in
Yes.
corporate America.
Yeah.
So I'd been in sales for a while, ended up joining up with a corporate company, joined as just an individual contributor, and for the next 5 years, I completely quit comedy. I didn't make videos, I wasn't writing, wasn't performing, nothing. And I had everything I wanted. I always thought, money, that's the key to happiness. And then you finally get it.
It helps.
Everything.
No, it helps.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't
does
say
help.
I wasn't always unhappy.
Yeah, right.
But, I hated my life, dude. Like, everything felt like it was just unwinding. I wasn't happy going to work, and I just quit. And about a year prior to that moment, my wife and I just randomly started a little side hustle chocolate company.
Yeah.
That, kept growing and growing and growing.
It blew up. So was the unhappiness kind of it was a combination of just that grind that you describe and feeling like you left the creative stuff behind?
Yeah.
The stand-up behind and all that.
I think what I found was when I started doing creative stuff again, I realized what I was missing.
Right.
But it was also just this realization, like, how much of my soul am I willing to sell for money? And doing corporate America, dude, it was selling like 99% of it.
Isn't it crazy that some people, like, they will get into that selling their soul for money and then be like, this is it.
Dude,
Like,
I know. Dude.
They're like, I'm here, baby.
Well, it's, as I kept climbing the ladder, when I was entry level, which was still making all right money, I was enamored by the money. Like,
Yeah.
that's what kept me pushing. I was like, oh, dude, if I get a promotion, it's 50K more, 100K more. Then I get to the highest level I'd ever gotten to in sales.
Right.
And I'm surrounded by idiots. I'm
Yeah.
surrounded by people I have no intent of becoming.
Whereas in comedy,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They
we're
are
all so
very
smart.
rocket scientists and no, but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in every area failing upward in corporate America. comedy's a little bit more democratic than that. Like you're either funny or you're not.
Yes.
You know, but also like that story of corporate America. You know, if you know, remember who Wayne Cotter was? You know, it was a long time ago. But like Gaffigan was a guy who kind of came up in corporate America, and now it seems like we're kind of in a golden age of corporations who really need creative people because of TikTok and social media and all that kind of stuff. Whereas before you had to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
And so that probably to some degree informed where you are now.
Yeah, I'm a little too edgy to go back to corporate America now.
Right,
I think if I was thinking about it the other day, it's like, oh man, I hope I don't ever have to go get a job. They'd be like, are you this guy from the internet? We can't have you here.
Yeah, canceled immediately. Yeah.
Shave your beard and you'd be like, different guy.
But a lot of your stuff is about being a dad and being a husband and that kind of stuff, which is obviously, it's not universal, but a lot of people, man, feel that in the gut.
Yeah, it just resonates, you know, because that's all I do, man. Even my social media stuff, like there's a lot of people that will try to, you know, game the algorithm and, we post at 8 p.m. and this. I've never paid any attention to that. Just like if I have a story to tell, I get on, I tell the story, I bare minimum edit it, and I click post.
Well, I was going to say, because social media now is a new kind of grind. For people who are like, oh my God, that pressure to, like you said, game the algorithm or figure out the best way to do it. And then right when you figure that out, the platform goes, hey, we're not going to do it like that anymore.
Oh,
so,
man,
you know.
Yeah.
So I never envy people who are only making money on social media.
Well, it's really hard to make money on social media, man.
Yeah.
I think that's why you see a lot of people like now, a lot of creators that weren't comedians are now comedians, like trying to monetize their following to go out and do comedy, and it's not easy. Like
it's not easy. I mean, even we kind of had a bubble burst on that where there was a lot of people coming out of the pandemic that were selling a ton of tickets. People go out to see them one time, they're like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
And then they don't go back to see them the second time, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I thought I was doing theaters, and now I'm back to doing Wednesdays at a club.
Yeah, or
where it's
Saturdays at 3:30 p.m.
Yeah, but hey, you're still on your way up though, so you're doing good. But
So
there's definitely people that have they had that bubble burst, and now it's kind of evening out again.
Was the chocolate thing you and your wife? You guys saying, let's try, I mean, how was that born? The company's called Wicked Chocolate.
Wicked Bold, and it's actually on its way out now as well. That's sunsetting probably this year.
Oh, it is really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I thought it really blew up
Dude,
for a while.
we were crushing it. But the thing is, I'm a real big shoot first, ask questions last kind of
I
mover.
see, yeah.
So, I mean, we literally started Wicked Bold. I don't believe in roadblocks. It's like, I'm going to just go make it happen. I really think I could do whatever I want if I just dedicate my time to it. So we started a chocolate company. We started making it in our kitchen, started doing it at farmers markets, and I wanted it to be affordable, so we made it $3.99 a bag. And then next thing you know, I'm corporate sales. Like my life has been sales. The best thing I was for Wicked Bold was growing it. So I got us into Whole Foods, Walmart, Sprouts. We were in 2,000 stores at one point. But what I'm not good at is putting on a tie and raising money and selling myself as the next best thing in food.
The financing is the
I could
tough,
never go raise money.
Yeah.
And we were doing all right. We our best year we did almost $1 million in revenue as no employees. It was always just me and my wife.
Yeah.
That's insane. To be in 2,000 stores and producing that much.
Yeah, well, it was the big one for us. We launched 1,200 Walmart stores, and I told Walmart, I was like, listen, dude, I'll take this, but we will be one mistake away from going out of business.
Yeah.
And they didn't care. They were like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So you're going to sell it to us?
Yeah.
And we had that. We had one mistake.
Yeah.
We had the one mistake happen, and it just was catastrophic.
And so what was that?
It kind of pisses me off because it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
It was,
Was it white chocolate?
yeah.
Was that the mistake?
Created a rift in our system. We had to go out from making it ourselves to make that much chocolate. So we used a co-packer in San Diego, which is they were a chocolate company that had more capabilities than us. And they went out of business on us overnight. Ooh. They kept asking me for more and more money deposited.
Yeah.
And they hadn't made the chocolate yet for our third run. And
like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, it kind of was because they were cool people. It was a mother and a son company, and I went out, I flew out, I met them twice. Everything seemed above board, and then they asked me for extra money once, and I was like, dude, I've already given you as an extra $25,000. I can't do anymore. The next day, they shut down their business.
Wow.
So it ended up costing us $150,000 when it was all said and done to like truck all of our stuff to
I'm
a
having
new
a panic attack just here.
I know, right? Yeah.
I'll tell you, man, I actually recorded a few, like, just I've never shown anyone them, just self-recorded videos of me just going, like, what am I going to do? And I ended up getting through it. We lived.
Yeah.
But we didn't have enough money to go catastrophically grow out of it.
Right.
You know, for us to overcome $150,000 of a deficit, we would have had to go do $2 million in sales.
Right. When it's
real
just the
quick.
two of you still,
Yeah. So it just killed us. We still have a little bit of inventory left, and the internet's doing a really good job buying it up from us. And
I was going to say, it's not like you're going to be sitting on it for that long, but it's not where it was before, I guess. So does that, to some degree, does that end your entrepreneurial spirit? I mean,
no, I've always been a side hustler. Like,
Yeah.
I've always started little things here and there. But now what I'm seeing is this journey. I used to think that I just loved starting businesses. Like, you give it to me, I love starting it. But what I've learned after starting, 6 or 7 things, I do love business, but I want to do something that I love, which is me now. Like my comedy and my merch. It's like I kind of feel like I'm entrepreneuring me now.
Yeah,
which
I
is kinda
understand.
cool.
What's your merch?
I can't say it on the air, but
Okay.
it's F this house
Okay.
is what I do on TikTok and Instagram.
Right on.
That's like the big merch mover.
Yeah.
I just did carpenter pencils and T-shirts and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's different too. Carpenter pencils, like
Yeah, it was just because
So-
I mean I do a lot of just I hate it personally. I hate working on my house, but the internet
also
loves it.
Yeah. If you make it entertaining, turn into content, makes it enjoyable for a little bit, and then you hate it
Yeah,
even more.
it's crazy. The internet works in really crazy ways with like the algorithm and what they're going to feed to people. It's really up and down. For the longest time, my content about kids was like, if anyone walked up to me on the street, it was like, oh, dude, you're the TikTok dad. And now the last several months, it's like, oh, you're the house guy.
Yeah.
But this one's really interesting. I've had like 15 production companies hit me up wanting to make a TV show out of the stuff that I do on TikTok. Which
right,
is
like
crazy.
a guy who's having a hard time with his house, and that like a this old house for people that
like
barely know what they're doing.
Real life,
Yeah.
home construction stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Hitting your thumb with a hammer and that kind of stuff.
You're
Yeah, that's-
ruining your house,
Right.
just wanting to save the money, and then
People
it's
love
like, yeah.
We want to do a show about you ruining your house. Deric Cahill is doing one show tomorrow afternoon at the Cleveland Funny Bone. It's a 3:30 show. You can find him on the Cleveland Funny Bone website there and buy tickets if you want. This is your first headlining run, yeah?
It is, yeah.
This is the Toxic Papa Tour. Is
the
that what it's
Toxic
called?
Papa Tour, yeah.
Yeah.
I talk quite a bit about raising kids this one.
How many kids?
3.
And they're little?
No, I have a 15-year-old.
Oh, you do really?
Yeah, an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah. I have one that just left college. I have another one who is a junior in college, and I have a 3rd grader.
Oh, wow.
So I'm
quite
like
the spread.
yeah, both ends of the spectrum. Still running around chasing little ones, but the themes are going to be the same, right? I mean, irrespective of how old some of these kids are, if you have children, these are
Yep.
things that people understand.
Oh, even if they're older, you can remember them. If
Yeah.
they're not quite there, it's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, but since you're going out, is it a shift in the dynamic of how things normally work because you're gone and they're at home? I mean, that's a transition that kids aren't always either down with or they don't get it or, you know.
Yeah, my 3-year-old.
It's a long time you were just around, I assume.
Yeah, no, I quit my last job in 2022, and I've been doing just my own stuff for the last couple of years. So I've been home a lot, which
Yeah.
has been super cool. My 3-year-old knows. He's like, "You gonna go do a comedy show?" I don't know if he knows what that is. He just
He
knows.
just knows it means you're not
I'm
home.
gonna not be around.
Yeah.
It's ebbs and flows. Like this stint that I'm on right now. Tomorrow's my last show of like a 10-day run, and I was home for like 17 hours in the middle. That's tough to be gone
Right.
that long because like my wife is handling school and jujitsu and math and football, and she does roller derby, so it's a lot for her to take on while I'm gone.
So where were you just as we talk about the trajectory of all the things that you've done? I'm curious where you were in that when the pandemic hit. Were you in a spot where you're like, we'll be all right or whatever? Or was
Financially?
Well, just creatively, and were you still doing the corporate thing, or were you transitioning into something else?
I was when the pandemic hit. I was in like the midst of quitting. Like I think I'd already acknowledged. Like I had my own one and only panic attack ever. I was in the bathtub of all, like the most serene place you could be, and I like, couldn't breathe. And I just took that as a cue of like something's got to change.
Right.
And that was I think right before the pandemic hit. Then the pandemic hit. I ended up working there for another like 5 or 6 months, and then I left. And content. I started randomly posting, I think right before the pandemic hit, just random funny, whatever I thought was funny videos would post up. And the last couple of years has just kept growing.
And so it really was just kind of, obviously there's a lot of effort put into it, but content-wise and what resonated with people, it sounds like you kind of did fall ass backwards into people really liking just what you were naturally doing.
We can say ass here. I've been
Yeah, of
holding that
course.
back the whole time.
Yeah.
Ass and bitch
Yeah.
are fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me more. Give me more.
Yeah.
Especially if you're talking about a specific woman. No.
Yeah. No, I did, man. I think that's part of. I don't think I could ever replicate this for anyone. Because it's just been by accident. Like people, it's cool. They just like me, which is this journey I've been on the last few years of like, I don't want to do things for other people anymore.
Yeah.
Like be a different person. So you and you like me. It's like, I just want to be me.
Yeah.
And it's been cool to see people show up for that.
Well, especially now, it's impossible to do what you think people will like.
Exactly.
Like I always think of whether it's this or social media or whatever, I always think of like your audience will find you. And if they dig what you're doing, I mean, because if you try, it's the human version of trying to game the algorithm. If you're trying to do stuff that you think people will like, you might get some people, but the rest of them go, I don't know what this is.
And it's hard as a creator, and especially as a comedian, because when you do these things, you want the attention. Like it's an outcome of what you do. If you get on stage, of course, a byproduct of success is a room full of people that paid to come see you.
Yeah.
On social media, it's views and comments and likes. And one of the first videos I posted that went viral was in early 2021. I was just randomly returning a car to Enterprise, and no one was answering their phones. So I had 1,000 followers on TikTok at the time. I answer the phone and I'm helping the customer, and I thought it was funny. I started recording it, chopped it up, posted it on TikTok, and it got like 25 million views.
Well, I was going to ask,
crazy,
what's the one that blew up?
So, but it's funny when you think about blowing up. Like it's not like we see the Hawk Tuah girl right now. Like blow up, she's like all over the place. I've had a bunch of videos pop up, but it's always. It's just like no. It just all right. Let's get right back to normal though.
Yes.
All right, everyone stay seated.
Bill's had that. Mary, who's
yeah.
also on our show, has had that. Where you'll get one that's like 3 million views, and the next week it's like a couple
Yeah, it
thousand.
goes back to normal.
Yeah,
Right,
but
right.
I think
Finding that consistency is tough, and like finding the people that will engage with the regular posts, not just the ones that get big.
yeah.
And that's
And I have
that's
that
the
now.
key,
You know, I've built enough of a following and a good fan base where I do have a lot of good consistency with the stuff I post on Instagram and TikTok. But I'm also really fortunate that I found this later in life because it messes with your head like quite a bit, dude. Like so that video that popped off, the next 2 weeks you have your follow-up videos. Everyone has quote, oh, what happened next? What did the manager say? And I had to really come to terms because like I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the guy that then goes to Walmart and answers phones.
Right,
Like,
that's
goes
your
to
new bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, like that's the shtick because that's what people do on the internet. They find something that works and they never stop doing
Yeah,
it.
those what I call micro niches or whatever.
Yeah, you know, and if I was 24, I may have done that. I may have been like, oh, well, this is what the people want. But I'm sitting there, I was 30 at the time. I had 2 kids at the time. I was like, I'm not freaking going to stores answering phones for people. And I had to literally ignore something that could get views to just keep doing the stuff I liked. And I said that to myself. I was like, dude, listen, if they like you, they'll find another video that you do
just
and
gotta
they'll
push
like
through,
what I do next.
Well, that's like with stuff that I've had that's done well is I'm a step parent, I'm ex-Mormon, and one of my kids is trans. And like those
He
videos
checks a lot
have
of
done,
boxes.
done well.
That's a lot of boxes to
But I
check.
also don't want that to just be like I don't want to just have every bit that I do be about my son being trans.
Oh,
Because
yeah, I
that's
know.
like not even really my story to tell. It's more for him. So like I like that people hear that story and it is helpful, but I don't want to just
Make it your
be
identity.
that. I also don't want to like sell merch that's like ex-Mormon comedian guy like that.
Yeah.
that. Like the reason I left the church is because I don't want to be part of it. Like I don't want to talk about it.
It's like when you have
that's-
your dinosaur phase when you're 3 and your
Yeah.
grandmother gets you dinosaurs until
the
you're
rest of
30.
your
45 years old
life.
getting dino socks in the mail. I know how
Yeah.
much you love your Tyrannosauruses.
Yeah, they're tiny arms. You love it. Deric Cahill, find him on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and you will be one of many, many, many people watching his stuff. He is doing one show tomorrow afternoon. It's very close to being sold out if it's not already. Deric Cahill is at the Cleveland Funny Bone tomorrow afternoon. That is a 3:30 show, doors an hour prior. And it's good to meet you, man. Good luck